One of the recurring themes that come up when I research the motif and trivia of Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is how much the developer give importance to the letter V or the Roman numeral 5. On the surface, we have trivia like how the original SMT 5 was set to release on the 11th of November 2021. At first glance, this may not mean much, but if you write out the date in a particular format, you can see that it ends with 5 number ones, alluding to the number 5 in the title. Upon further research, I quickly learned that the number 5 actually plays a significant role in Japanese culture to a degree. Many of the realities that we know seem to contain 5 elements in total. For example, we can achieve all the colors known to man by mixing the 5 colors of red, blue, green, black, and white. We can also sense 5 tastes in total, which are sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and while spicy isn't a taste, but more of a reaction your body gets after eating something, the Japanese actually have a 5th taste you might have heard of called umami.
Extremely high temperature juices have spurted out from inside.
However, what I will be sharing with you today is much more deeper than that. It's all started when I noticed some interesting details from the opening prologue. The poem being recited here originates from a series of books called the Manyoshu, which by the way is what the protagonist is reading. And do you know what volume of Manyoshu this poem is from? Yeah, you guess it, it is from the 5th volume. See what I mean by how much the writer is obsessed with the number 5? But actually, all that is just a side quest. What I really want to talk to you about today is not the book, but the leaf and the flower petals you see behind it. This flower is called an azalea. In Japan, it symbolizes femininity, temperance, and elegance. And this is where it gets interesting, because if you pay attention to the Juin school uniform, you will notice a flower patterns on it. This flower is confirmed by the character designer Masayuki Doi to be a particular species of azalea. He said, there have been many speculations as of the origin of the flower used in the pattern of Juin Academy's uniforms. The correct answer is that they are Japanese Satsuki azaleas. This flower is the official flower of the Shinagawa district in Tokyo, where the story takes place, and it is known to represent temperance, one of the cardinal virtues. The Satsuki azalea flower colors can be vary from white to pink, yellowish pink, red, reddish orange, and purple, which match the color of those petals we saw during the prologue animation. But don't be impressed yet, because it's only going to get crazier from now. Following the prologue, after the protagonist and friend visit the Tanagawa underpass, which by the way is a real tunnel, we are shown another cutscene with 2 mysterious voices narrating the origin of the world. The tree you see here is called the Tree of Knowledge. What is interesting here is the color of the flowers and leaf on the tree. They are the same color as the petals of the Satsuki azalea in the beginning of the games, which led me to believe that the Tree of Knowledge itself is slightly a large Satsuki azalea. This idea that the Tree of Knowledge being a large Satsuki azalea fits perfectly with the motif of the Juin school uniform. If we take a look at the origin of the Tree of Knowledge in the real world, the link between the 2 subjects become very strong. The Tree of Knowledge, or the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil, is one of the 2 specific trees in the Garden of Eden story, along with the Tree of Life. God created the first humans, Adam and Eve, and placed them in the Garden of Eden. He told them that they could eat from any tree except this one. However, a serpent convinced Eve to eat the fruit from the forbidden tree. She also gave some to Adam, and he ate it too. And by eating the fruit, Adam and Eve gained the ability to understand right and wrong. Before this, they were innocent and didn't know about sin or moralities. After eating the fruit, they then realized they were naked and felt shame for the first time. This newfound knowledge made them more like God in terms of understanding. But since they disobeyed God, they were expelled from the garden. In the story of SMT5, we have a god who took knowledge from other gods to prevent them from taking his throne. This knowledge, in the shape of a fruit, is then eaten by humans who gain the knowledge of the gods. When these gods, now referred to as demons, learn about this, they search for humans with their knowledge to become whole again. What is important to note here is how the knowledge of the gods changed form over time. It started as knowledge within the god, then became a fruit, and finally took human form after they consumed the fruit. Now, remember how the character designer Masayuki Doi mentioned that the Sasaki Acelia flowers is the official flower of the Shinagawa district in Tokyo, where the story takes place? The fact that the UN uniform featured the Sasaki Acelia hint that the students and the humans in the new Tokyo are the Sasaki Acelia on the Tree of Knowledge, just like the fruit of knowledge they originally consumed. They are now desired by the demons. But that's not all, because if you look at the structure of the trunk and branches of the Tree of Knowledge, it does look awfully like one particular type of Sasaki Acelia, the Sasaki Acelia bonsai. A bonsai, if you don't know, is a miniature tree grown in a pot, shaped and pruned to mimic the appearance of the full-size tree. There are many reasons why people grow bonsai trees. Some do it to appreciate the beauty and art of these miniature trees, and to enjoy intricate details and natural elegance. Many find it relaxing and rewarding hobby, providing a peaceful escape from everyday life. Growing bonsai also allows the people to connect with an ancient tradition, preserving a piece of cultural history. It also offers a way to express their creativity as they shape and care for the tree over time. Additionally, tending to the bonsai teaches patience and mindfulness, reflecting ideas of balance and harmony, and fostering a deeper connection to nature. So, what does this have to do with number 5? Well, Sasuke in Japan can mean early moon, which link well with the moon phase system in the SMT5 series, but more importantly, it can also mean May, or the 5th month. With that in mind, if we go back and inspect the cutscene with the two voices talking to each other again, we can make a connection that they are referring to the world of SMT5 as being linked to the Acelia trees, and how the history of the world mirrors the life of the tree. In fact, they even invited us, the players, to watch patiently as the inhabitant of the world shape and form their history, just like how the people of Japan take care of their bonsai from many around the world to admire it.
How will these keepers of knowledge strive and perish during their final futile hours in this doomed world?
Let us watch them at our leisure until the new ruler is seated upon the throne.
The mandala system, according to Lucifer, is the cycle through which the universe eventually resets itself by having a new Nahobiho come and recreate it. In fact, many gods have reset the universe in the past, and interestingly, the version that takes place in SMT5 is the 5th iteration. However, the way SMT lore is explained can be quite vague due to the language used.
The Tokyo you're referring to is an act of God.
The god of law seated himself upon the throne of creation.
Rejoice and be glad, servants of the horned god.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, actually, it wasn't me. It was... No, it's okay. I'm used to it.
So while the order and who took the throne at what time can be difficult to dissect, I can tell you that the first one who took it is slightly Marduk, and the current god who was slain by Lucifer is Yahweh. Baal also took the throne at some point. Luckily, who took the throne and when is just a side trivia. What matters today is that there are 5 of them, and this is the 5th cycle. So with that said, let me tell you the most interesting facts about the Sasuke Acelia and the number 5 in SMT5. I already told you that the name Sasuke means the 5th month, and the tree goes on full blooms in the same months. That said, if you have a Sasuke Acelia or any other plant as a bonsai, you will need to eventually repot it. Repotting a bonsai tree is extremely important for its health and growth. Over time, the tree roots can outgrow the pot and become crowded, which can limit its access to waters and nutrients. That said, the best time to repot Sasaki Acelia is during the 5th month after the blooming is finished. This is because the flowers of Acelia draw a large amount of energy from the plant, so it is best to remove all the flower, old and new, and the remaining buds all at the same time. This parallels extremely well with the concept and the cycle of the mandala system, as the Nahobino gets to keep what he deemed to be the most essential part of the world and discard the rest as we move into the new cycle. However, there is one fascinating ending that takes this to an extreme. You might have remembered dialogue from the Canon of Vengeance route, where Yogo asked the protagonist about a penning. Here, she mentioned that, let's say, someone is telling everyone to pen a picture, and it takes a very long time to finish, but partway through, you realize that the leader's direction were wrong, and the penning is looking terribly ugly. In that situation, what do you think should be done? That said, if you mostly agree with Yogo and decided to start over from scratch, you are locked into the chaos ending of the Canon of Vengeance. In this ending, instead of preserving part of the world, the protagonist and Yogo choose to remove the entire tree and start anew with a new tree.
Every world that has been will vanish. The darkness will take them, and a new future will be born.
This original or best version of the tree might look familiar, as it resembles the popular depiction of another legendary tree in the Garden of Eden, the Tree of Life. The sphere you see on it is called a Sephiroth. Each sphere represents different aspects of God's natures and a different part of the universe. However, I won't go into that now. While many writings depict the Tree of Knowledge and the Tree of Life as two distinct trees in the Garden of Eden, some scholars believe they are actually the same tree. In these fictional games, it is possible that the original form of the Tree of Knowledge is indeed the Tree of Life, that which contained the knowledge of gods. This knowledge then later get transferred to humans, the humans who are represented as petals populating the tree, transforming it into the Tree of Knowledge. Japanese flower viewing, known as hanami, is a traditional practice where people gather to enjoy the beauty of blooming cherry blossoms, or sakura. This usually happens between the end of March and early May, which the cherry blossom trees are in full bloom. Following them, the Sasaki Acelia have less spring blossom. They signal a period of renewal, and each hue of its flowers are believed to represent different cultural narrative, from purity to the joy of life, which is also a great callback to the two voices in the beginning of the game, urging us to watch how the story of SMT 5 will unfold as the current cycle draws to a close and the new cycle soon to begin.